What?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No.
I know you want to write a book, but I didn't know. I don't have any connection to...
No.
Episode 1.
We have Ozzy.
Hi,
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Say hi.
This is Jay's dog.
I know we're going to go into something, but just a quick introduction. This is Ozzy. She is Maltese Schnauzer
This is important facts.
cross. She might be digging here. If she sticks around in the shot, she's probably going to be digging.
And it has begun.
She's digging my toes. Something about her being spayed about a week and a half ago has triggered this behavior. She started to burrow
Where's
and
her
stuff.
cone?
So if anyone has any insight, please let me know. Hopefully this isn't anything bad. She's also started to burrow under blankets.
Probably because she's missing being horny.
What? Being
Isn't
what?
What spayed does. It gets right on sexual
So
organs.
what? So then you...
Now she's like, I miss it. I'm thinking to find it.
No. Anyway, so this is Ozzy. She might pop up throughout the different episodes.
Yes. She is the mascot to the pod.
Yes. So, episode 1.
Welcome back. And this time, there's something to come back to.
Yay, we actually recording it.
Do we want to talk about what happened last time? Where it cut off? Or no?
Oh, yes, let's talk about that.
So we recorded it for audio listeners. Not a problem. YouTube listeners, it would have just been a little bit of a cute graphic at the end while you watch the rest of it.
I don't know why that happened. That is completely my fault because I'm the camera person. But the recording stopped. So hopefully you still listened all the way or skipped to see what the fuss was about. But
we're gonna need to talk. We're gonna need to spend a whole pod talking about this. But if you're not watching this on double speed, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We highly recommend watching anything we do in double speed because
unless it's a music related thing where you need it, then other than that,
yeah,
double speed.
Because we send each other those bubbles on Telegram, and those are always on double speed. It only ever stops being on double speed when you actually talk fast, and I can't quite hear. But
or mumbly
on double speed by default. So please watch this in double speed. Thank you.
you don't have to.
Otherwise you'll hate us probably.
But I know that everyone in my life gets very annoyed when they're like, "What are you watching?" All I can hear is. Blah, 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 blah.
You'll get used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, honestly, it's good.
Episode 1.
Yes.
We just wanted to touch on
key lore
for Not Quite Nerds, Not Quite Cool Kids podcast.
Can you say the acronym? The abbreviation?
NQN, NQCK.
NQN.
NQCK. Or NQNN, QCK. Never mind.
QCK.
So this is our origins and our lore.
Our origin story.
Yeah.
We thought we'd just... Last time we talked about why we did this together. And this time we're going to talk about
why we're together.
Why we're together. No, more
and
just
how
like...
we're together.
Just like we're thinking... These are my points. I told Jay before because we're changing the...
we have an agenda and we're changing it.
We're changing it. So I'm thinking, first time we met each other, like first thoughts or what we can remember, because that's what I'm going to say.
Also, he's going to list this, and very possible that we're not going to follow any of this. But this is just for his brain.
This is for you to call back and say, you never answered your third question. Second was when we felt like we were actually becoming friends, or like when we felt like we were besties. And then the last one is kind of like maybe just, and then we can tell our kind of trajectory of our story a little bit.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so I'll go first. So Jay can like get a thought of what it was. Okay, so key lore, we met through church.
Amen.
Jay, this is the thing. Jay said she met me way earlier, but I don't remember it. So when I remember really knowing Jay and like knowing who she was and caring who she was Jay had become an intern and at church, and I was in high school still, and she was in uni times, and I started to see Jay because when you would go up to the stairs where the office is. Also Kilo, my parents used to be the pastors. Just
important detail.
if you are fully not in our world, this will help you understand. So I used to go after school. So I'd like turn up at the office, and when you walked up the stairs, Jay would just be right there. Bang, smack, right there when you walk up the stairs. So
just
every time
standing there at the top of the stairs.
Just always there. No, her desk with the computer, and Jay was doing like media stuff.
I was the creative intern.
Yes, that was the word. And so I would come up the stairs and see her. So she'd be the first person I'd talk to most of the time. And then I can't remember which came first, but Jay, I feel like it was One Direction stuff. So we started loving, like, you were like, do you like One Direction or something? And then I was like, yeah, I do. And like I had a friend at the time that liked it, and before that I thought they were dumb because my sister liked them. So obviously sister likes things. She's younger than me. Sister likes things, hate it. But then I started loving it because I heard some songs. We can talk about that at another point, how I fell in love with One Direction. But anyway. And so then Jay was like, oh, did you hear about the song that just came out? It got leaked. And I was like, what does that mean?
That was probably my peak One Direction era.
And Jay was also Tumblr girl. Jay was a Tumblr girl. I dabbled in Tumblr.
I don't know what your perception of Tumblr is, but it was good then.
It was her life.
It was good. It was like, it was not
Fandom Central.
It was weird, but it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah. So I remember Jay said it got leaked. I want to drink. I picked this up to drink.
It's fine. I was thinking. I'm like, oh, he's picked up he's in the middle of a story and he's.
I thought we were going to keep talking. Anyway, so Jay tells me it got leaked. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. She's like, it's not even out yet, but it's like kind of going viral.
I think the album got leaked because I remember
it got leaked, but I remember the first song that came out because people started making vines to it.
And I think it got leaked on Tumblr potentially. Or I heard about it on
Links
Tumblr.
on Tumblr.
Because I did have a Tumblr bestie. She was in the Philippines, and I literally rang her on the home phone. Like long distance phone call, and I was like, girl.
It got leaked.
It got leaked. Yeah.
So I remember you being like, it got leaked, but then showing me like a video from like Vine that was on Tumblr. And it was like something falling down the stairs because it was the part where it goes, and it was in best
song ever.
Best song ever. And it was like, my brain was like, this is like both the coolest thing I've ever heard and like shell shocked because I was like, I didn't even know that could happen. And because like I love music stuff, I think my brain was like, people can get this stuff leaked. Anyway, so then I was like, okay, Jay's cool. And if I need to know anything about One Direction.
Jay's cool because she loves One Direction.
Yes. I think I put those things together. I think I was just like, I need to come back
Jay's
to
cool
you.
because she tells me about stuff that leaks.
And also, Jay made me like, what's his name? What's the Irish one? Niall. I was saying Noel in my head.
I love
Jay loved
him.
Niall. And before that, I was like only Zayn and kind of Harry. Didn't like anybody else.
Mine was Niall.
Well, this is important.
Niall, Harry. I think it was Zayn. Then Liam, then Louis.
Okay, this is the real thing.
Sorry.
Is it BZ or AZ? Because BZ, Zayn, Harry, Niall, the other two.
Yeah.
Can interchange them, don't care. If you're watching.
Actually, I have to say, I think that Liam and Zayn were probably the interchangeable ones.
For you.
For me.
But I'm saying.
More for vibes, but I definitely acknowledge that like Zayn.
I just like Zayn because my friend liked Zayn. And then I was like, okay, I should love Zayn. And then I actually started to like his voice. Anyway, and then after Zayn, AZ, we have Niall.
BZ.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
BZ and AZ. After Zayn, I hated Zayn because I was like, you left the group. Why are you leaving the girlies? And my main one was Niall because Jay liked Niall. Are we seeing a pattern here? Someone else likes something, that's my friend. I like them as much as they do. So Niall,
if not more.
Harry, the other two.
Yeah.
So
Niall's still very much top for me.
I feel like
weird
his
to say, right?
vibe now very much so
sorry.
He tops me.
No. No, no, Mitchell, I love you.
Our producer is sad.
Nothing.
I was just gonna say, should we say we're gonna move on and keep going on the story because I have one more thing to say about how I met Jay and then we'll move on. But I was gonna say top album for me is 4.
I was literally about. I'm gonna say 4 because it's gonna be funny to interrupt you.
4.
4
is the best. 4 is the best.
I haven't
Sonically,
listened.
it's the best. It's the last Zayn album. It's like they're mature enough and they started writing on that album.
I didn't think that I would
like
have a
actually
lot
their perspective.
of 4 hits, but we did. So when we used to live in Wellington, we would drive to Hamilton together because our families lived here, and now we are in Hamilton. But we would do the drive. I would do the drive, and it would be about 8 hours, if not more, because I had to pee every 2 hours.
Or eat Krispy Kreme donuts.
Or eat Krispy Kreme. And one of the trips we did, we just played the music game where it was Wonder, and it was supposed to be like play the first few seconds, like play the first 1 to 2 seconds, and guess what the song is, what the album is, whatever. So we did it,
and one of us gets a point.
And I think we started playing it 3 hours in, and we were playing it I'm pretty sure we were like 30 minutes away from Hamilton by the time we finished.
And it's what, 8 hours?
Yeah, so we probably played for like I don't know what the maths are. 5 hours.
Like I put every album into a playlist and then shuffled, and we would pause it after I think it was like after 10 seconds it got paused.
No, it was the game was like 3 seconds, but then we couldn't get it, so we would be like, okay, keep playing, and then the verse is going, and I still can't remember the title, but I know the song.
You're like, I know it's like right there.
And then it was cute because sometimes we would just let the songs play, and then we would
if we were vibing it,
we would basically do what we're doing now, where then we would like dissect the song, we would talk about the lines that we loved. Yeah. Like
I remember when Jay
So on that trip, actually, let me just finish. So on that trip was when, because I told you, I'm not really familiar with 4.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, you were early albums. I'm later albums.
Yeah.
I know the last one
really well.
I don't know what it's called. And the last 2, I know the best.
Yeah.
The first 2, you know the best. Take Me Home is in the middle.
I'm iffy about. Which
one?
I'm
saying Take Me Home is in the middle of the 5 albums. Yeah. So I'm saying we know that a little bit more than the others. Because Take Me Home is best song ever.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I thought, I'm like, I don't really know 4 that much, so whatever. When the 4 songs come up, I'm not gonna know them as well. And then probably 4 was the one where we basically just listened intently to every single song.
Literally great album. Anyway,
great.
Important. So I was gonna say that Jay introduced me to like knowing, like looking online for information about One Direction, because
I introduced him to fangirling.
It was just fully. Before that, it was just like I really liked their music. I thought they were really cool, but like I didn't interact with them outside of their music. And then the next thing, Jay used to recommend YouTube cartoons to me.
I'm ready.
Bee and Puppy Cat. I really didn't think you were going to say that. I think you're going to say the other one, because that's not the first one you introduced me to.
What was the other one?
Adventure Time. No, not Adventure Time.
Something Heroes.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was this cartoon channel called Cartoon Frederator on YouTube, and Jay introduced me to that.
Bee and Puppy Cat. So cute.
Yeah, amazing. It's on Netflix now if you want to watch it.
But you should also find the episodes
You should also watch the YouTube ones because they're completely different. But yeah, amazing. Also started my love for cartoons. Big cartoon person now. Love a good anime. Love a good cartoon. So yeah, that was my first rememberings of knowing Jay. I think she was cool, but she was also older than me. So when I was like high school, I thought it would be weird if I started calling her my friend. And then she started teaching me stuff about animation.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed my life as well.
Yeah.
Because she was like, you're doing that, all that stuff, and I guess it's cool, but like, why are you doing it like that?
Did I introduce you to Premiere?
Yes.
I taught you how to use basic, or was it keyframing?
No, because I knew how to do keyframing.
You knew how to edit.
Mm-hmm. I knew how to edit. I knew how to do keyframing because I used to edit the youth news.
Pause. Alexa, lights to 50.
Lights on.
Apologies to the video watchers. The lights changed and I'm not going to stand up to do anything right now.
It'll be fun. Yeah. So Jay introduced me to some Adobe things, and then that started my journey into the Adobe verse, and then it became my job and my life, and then we ended up working later. But that's later. That's for later. Okay. So now you go for me. Now talk about me.
Tell me why I'm so cool.
Tell me why I'm so hot.
I don't remember anything.
I don't remember you. Who are you?
What are you doing in my house?
I don't like you.
I don't remember.
Do you remember anything of what I said?
I do. Yeah. I remember those. I think a key moment for me in that era of like, I guess our friendship was, let's not go into it, but it was when we were walking from the church venue and we were crossing the street and I started to tell you about this book idea that I had.
Really? I don't remember you telling me about Apollo.
Apollo, you can say Apollo.
Okay, about Apollo. It's the best look in the world.
No, shut up.
Buy it, pre-order it now. Pre-order in Jay's brain. Really? I don't remember. I remember being in Wellington.
What?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No.
I knew you wanted to write a book, but I didn't know. I don't have any connection to the story.
I think it was you and Millie, or you and maybe Zoe.
That would make sense.
No, it might have been you and Millie. Anyway, we were walking, and
but you wouldn't have told me the name. That's what I'm saying. I only remember the name. So then I'm saying you might have told me that, but I don't remember the instance because.
But I remember telling you about. Do you remember that walk?
No.
Okay, but I remembered that walk, and then I was like,
down the hill.
I can't believe I told someone.
Really?
That wasn't like I didn't consider like
besties.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah.
Confidant.
But anyway, because Keylor, his dad, his parents were pastors of the church, so obviously I knew him as their kids. And what was weird to me actually was like I was aware of you as like the pastor's kids.
Like, are you saying before the One Direction stuff?
When I first started coming, yeah.
Because the One Direction stuff was like well into it. Because
it was an intern.
You've been there for a year.
No, like 3 years, bruh. 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, this is what it was. It was kind of like a time jump because I was aware of you as the child of the pastor, you and Millie, and it was like you guys were babies, and then it was almost like you went away, like as if you had moved to a different city or whatever, and then the next time I was like properly aware of you, like I was like, holy, why are you so tall? Like you grew up, and I didn't see you grow up.
Is because I would have been around, and then I was started doing more praise and worship.
Oh.
Because then that's when I had confidence. So then people saw me. Because so maybe that's hiding.
But I was like, man, I remember you guys were like little babies. Like you were in the kids program. And then suddenly you were a teenager. Maybe you had a growth spurt. I don't know.
Consistent?
There was also maybe a year that was like kind of on and off. Like wasn't really coming every week.
Yeah.
But I was going to say every day. Yeah, and then it was kind of like the next time I was properly aware of you, and I always thought from afar, I always was like, man, he's so cool, and you were friends with a lot of like the cool people in church as well, like, we're gonna bleep this just to protect them.
No, but please bleeping it, but then people can guess.
Yeah, they can guess.
You can guess.
But you were friends. And I was like, man,
But let's be honest, I was always surprised by her too. Like I was like, she's the coolest person I've ever met. So I was as surprised by Jo.
And obviously you were friends.
I don't know if I'd even say that I was friends with them, just to clarify.
Oh, but
because they were so cool.
But it was always And maybe
I
that's
was
how
also pastor's kid.
Is that how you feel when you're friends with me? Like you can't believe that.
Okay. Completely not that. Definitely not that.
I'm like, why is she still here?
That definitely not that.
So because I was aware of kind of like the cool people in church, and you were friends with them. However, the relationship was, I was like, man, he's so cool. And
I love that. That's your perspective, is that I was friends with them.
Yeah.
Because in my head,
you're like, oh my God, they're so cool.
I was like, there's no way that, like, I would buy clothes to be like, oh my God, they would love that.
But it was really cute because it's like from afar. I was like, man, they love you.
These people are like significantly older than me. These are not like the same age as me. They were like young adults, and I was in like early high school.
And I probably had a time of like, man, I wish I could be friends with them because like he's younger than me, and like I don't know, like it would have just been cool to be friends with the cool people, basically.
Yeah. Classic.
Not that they weren't talking to me. It was just like, you know,
Friends.
you would run across the foyer or whatever to be like, hi, friends. Anyway, so that's how I kind of first remember you. And
all I'm saying is you're gonna bleep this too, like that wood floor, and just running across that.
Nah, I'm thinking about as well, but I would have been.
Yeah.
So some of those memories are that.
Sorry.
And then eventually, like obviously fangirling over One Direction. I don't know where in the timeline, but I was looking after the photography team, and you were part of the team as well.
Yes.
So then, kind of like a lot of what we did in church
started to overlap.
Yeah, started to overlap. Were we? I don't think we were in the worship team together.
No, because you left when you started doing creative stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because then you started doing photography like
every
Sunday.
That's true.
So then I started being on worship.
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of overlap, but like to the point where I was like BVing and you were like leaving.
Yeah.
I also think I think how it crossed over that we started doing like animation stuff together as well, because that's like mine and Jay's thing is like design, film, animation is the medium that we kind of would say that
that's
we're
our
both
day jobs.
Similarly skilled at. Animation levels is pretty similar, and then your editing is better. Crazy. And
yep.
Okay, we're gonna move on because
no. Okay, so talking about the animation thing, I can't remember why. I'm not gonna gas you up. It's not why. Please stop.
Stop it. I don't know.
No, it's not me gassing. No. I can't remember either why I had to teach you, but it must.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it was because it was the new stuff, because I must have been using the camera from you.
I think we would have had to be doing church stuff, and you wanted to do something. So the thing about TJ and his brain that I always was like, that always freaked me out, even before we were friends, like friends, was I was like, this dude is, can I say insane? Well, yeah, that's what I thought at the time. I was like, this dude's brain is insane because like he, the way that I like to say it, the way that I like to kind of
this is the way she likes to say it. There's 3 people in my life that are insane.
No, this is how I like to say it. Hey, do you know about that 3 people in my life thing? Have you heard me say that? Okay. No, it's
John?
not that. No. There's another. It's
Val?
you. No, it's you, Val, and Miguel.
Oh, Miguel. See,
John,
I said Miguel.
John, I really love you.
Sorry, John.
The 3 people that are crazy brain in my life that I was like, frick, I don't know. I'm like, I can just aspire to be my own thing because there's no way I can reach these brain levels. These are all just raw talent. It's TJ, Val, and my friend Miguel. But that's not the story. I was going to say, sometimes you walk into the room and there could be 100 people in it and no one believes in you and you just need one.
You just need
no.
one person.
No, so we were doing creative stuff. And what I was, throughout those times, I was impressed with, I feel like it's too dark. Alexa, lights 100.
Keep that in.
I was so impressed with the way that you just inherently knew how animation and motion and stuff like that worked.
Especially when I have aphasia, but I didn't know that then.
But we didn't know that. We can talk about that in another episode.
that's a whole episode.
But the way that I like to, the analogy or the metaphor that I like to say, or the exercise, is I will tell you, audience, listeners, to go, okay, if I ask you, how does a ball, imagine just a circle or a ball, how does it bounce up and down? If you had to make a ball move up and down.
I'm like kind of cringing, but also
how
interested.
can you, if you have ever had a dream where you...
Would you?
No, sorry, okay. So, you have to animate a ball bouncing. Literally, just if I drop a ball, it goes down and then up. Okay, how would you, if you just had to explain to me verbally what that movement is?
You're gonna do it.
What would it be? Okay, do it. That's your exercise. Next week or in the next episode, we're gonna receive submissions. No, so I would ask that of people, and then they would go, it's up and down, or you would think that it would be up and down.
Sorry for breathing in the mic.
It's fine. You're allowed to breathe. You would think that it would be up and down. But TJ, and that's what I would have thought as well. It's like, oh, animated up and down, boop, boop, boop. Oh, why does it look weird? But then when I ask you, or whenever you have to do any animation, you're like, okay, when it bounces, it goes down and the bowl kind of squishes a little bit and it almost like has to go past the floor slightly and then it can go up and then down again. And it's like, all the mechanics inherently. And that just, I don't know that you realize that that's what's happening.
I do now because I've had to learn, and like I've had to learn how to explain it.
Yeah. And you have like vocabulary now. Or like, we had this one video that we worked on and it was stop motion and you painted everything and then we had to so you painted everything physically and we had to animate it. One day we might show you. But you just inherently knew parallax. Cool. Like when something's moving and it's close by, it moves slower, and when things are down the back or further away, it moves faster. And when we were doing the animation, I
remember saying that and you'd be like, oh, like a parallax. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
You didn't know what it was called. But when I was playing it and I was doing I think you were doing the motion. Anyway,
This is where we're crossing over into how we became friends.
Yeah. So we would play it back.
Love a transition.
And then you would say, no, that's too fast, or that one's not fast enough, or this one should be faster. And I could see it, and I could see that there's something off about it, but I couldn't tell you what it is, what the rules are. And then, but I know, and then you explain it to me, and I'm like, oh, yep, that's parallax. So I have the words, you have the instinct.
We just touched our fingers for the audio listeners.
That we've never done that before. I don't know this man.
That is not key law. That's wild. Yeah.
So working with you initially, so that was really long, but working with you initially, I was very I was just amazed at those things that you knew inherently. And it was weird to think that you didn't know some of the stuff. So I taught you some basic things. Like I can't remember,
because the one that I remember first was, I don't know if we were working in After Effects or in Premiere or whatever, but I was saying, you were saying, oh, this is what you can do. I think you were literally saying, this is what you can do. And I was like, I know how to do keyframing. Yeah. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. And you're like, okay, so we're going to do this and we're going to add like motion blur. And which I think that was the thing that made you tell me off. Well, not tell me off, but be like, you need to use this program, because I was making my own motion blur.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. So he was doing these like complex animations
in Movie Maker.
And then I taught you basics of Premiere Pro. And then you started doing it in Premiere Pro, I remember.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you need to freaking use After Effects, because like he was doing his, like he knew inherently that there was motion blur, and he was like, instead
rather
of
than
going
like an inherent like program situation, it was like,
well, yeah, you didn't know.
I would blur it for this amount of seconds and like try to streak it a little bit.
And that's that's like still something that even now, years later, I'm like, this is so great.
I'm like, and she'll call me and be like, hey, so I've got this thing, and it's like a 2-second thing and it's not working, and I'll be like, let's brainstorm it. Let's figure it out. And
it's really good. So that's kind of, I think that's really, you continue to do that, and then I kind of continued doing the internship, and then you became an intern. Welcome back.
Hope you like the ad. It's a very good one. Thank you, sponsor.
We didn't wrap it up properly, but basically a few years after we started working together. A few years after teaching you, and actually, sorry, this is not what we just talked about. But do you remember, or would you be comfortable in sharing how I also helped you with your application to tech?
Uni? Except for
do you remember?
Except for the sad ending to that story, but sure.
No, we don't have to end it. But.
So, Jay is at uni. But I'm going to go through the bullet points.
No, this is what I was going to say. I was an intern, and then for your application essay, you just needed help. And I was helping you write it.
I was go into tech. Into tech.
We don't have to go into it.
No, I want to.
Okay,
because we're talking about it. Key law. I went into uni. I want to go to uni straight out of high school, mainly because I didn't want to know what I wanted to do, like in terms of like active steps of getting a job in the creative sphere.
No judgment.
So went into uni.
I dropped out of university,
which is so funny that was my alternative. It wasn't like, I don't want to do. I'm gonna go find myself. It was like, I'm gonna go to uni. Usually it's the other way around for people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to uni, and a part of that was that I needed to go into the application process, and we don't need to talk about it, but the year didn't go well. I never finished it, but it led me to other things.
But yeah, so I had to help TJ with
fully whiteboard out
planning the essay. I can't remember. I just remembered that as a moment where I was like, okay, look, like I like extra time that I got to spend with you, to work with you.
And it changed our relationship because it wasn't just like, it was like real. Like it wasn't just like creative fun stuff. It was like,
it wasn't just like, hey,
my life.
That's cute. How's school?
yeah. It was like,
you were literally in high school.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I think it really changed I think our dynamic, because I got to see you like teach me something that I knew nothing about, and also was like, frick, she's good at stuff. That's a statement.
And then a couple years later,
writing English.
You became an intern, and I was an intern as well.
The year after.
Was that the year after?
So you helped me apply for uni. I did uni. I dropped out halfway through because I was accepted on a provisional acceptance because of my dyslexia. Didn't have enough credits or whatever. And so then I was going to like a recap course so I could go into next year. Yeah. And during that was like, this is not it, sis. This is not going to work for me. And I started just going to the office because it was right next door.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that year, the principal of the thing was like, you should be an intern. And I was like, funny. And then I did it.
And then you did it. And it was because I did 3 years. And out of my 3 years, that was my favorite. I just loved the group. I mean, you were in it. But it was last year. It was like out of those 3, obviously enjoyed each year. But like I really enjoyed that group of people.
I think we just all clicked. Personalities were very similar, and I think
we would all have lunch together.
Yeah,
but we basically all got really close. So then
been in church for
we
a
got
long
close
time
as well, and then we were working. We were on the same team together, and we would work on creative stuff together. And then
so internship year after, I started doing design stuff and was like doing this other random job, and then the year after is when I started, which was 2018.
Yeah.
And you had already started.
I started halfway through the year before.
Like
but yeah, so I got a job in the church, and I moved to Wellington, which is the city away from our city. I was gonna say the city away from home.
But it became our home.
And then TJ moved there as well.
To also work at the same place.
So we were in the same department. We were both in the creative team. He was a designer. You were a designer. I am a film editor. I still am in the job.
I'm still a designer.
And he's still a designer. Sorry, just not in the same. What the heck?
Anyway, keep going.
So we ended up working together. And
also Jay was like my full-on safety blanket.
Yeah, and then because we were obviously away from home. Like it was my first time moving out of home. It was legit my first real job. Like I had.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it was my first real job, and so we I didn't expect it. Like I didn't plan for me to be like, I can only hang out with TJ because I don't know anyone. But that's kind of what happened where.
Like you knew me the best. Like I would say in internship you were more like a big sister in the sense that like. You're cool, you were older, you had a lot more experience in internship and in church and stuff. And so then it was kind of like in life. and then I think, but there was kind of that disconnect because of that. But then we started the job. And
it wasn't like friends.
Yeah. It was like we're friends because of the circumstance. Yeah. But then I think then when we started at the same level-ish.
Yeah.
And that we were like, why are they giving us money to be here? Like we should probably not have these jobs.
Imposter syndrome in full force.
And like being like for the first year for me and you, but obviously finishing halfway through that, my first year was like, I think they're gonna fire me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna ask me to come back.
I don't think it's the best idea. I think they're gonna fire me.
It was a 6 month.
That's right.
Thing for me. So I was like, after 6 months,
I'm going home.
I was like, TJ, you might be coming here. I might be leaving.
And anyway, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
We worked together and you were flatting, but eventually we ended up living together in the same flat.
No, because we lived together first.
Did we?
Yeah, because I moved and I didn't have a flat.
Oh, yeah.
And I came and lived with you.
And so we did, basically, I just wanted to say that we did live together while we were in Wellington and then moved different living arrangements eventually, and then
ended up being back together.
Yeah, and so we worked together and we lived together.
She drove me to work,
and then I would pick you, and then I would give you.
We used to go on the same bus together,
and we would
bus
go on the
train.
Yep. As we worked together, we we really saw in the creative area, like each other's strengths, and we saw that we collaborated really well, and we didn't.
Our brains just like fit right next to each other.
Yeah, and I think that the each other's strengths, like, you know, you're really good with some of the inherent stuff for motion graphics, like I said, and then I would have the vocabulary sometimes for it,
and the speed,
and yeah, so it was cool, and it felt like we sort of grew up together. We were like in the trenches and grew up together in different aspects, like, you know, first time moving away from home and first real job, and as our kind of skills,
like dream jobs too.
yeah, and as our skills were developing, so it was very kind of formative, and then all the fun stuff in between, like road trips, all that stuff, and now we've circled back to the One Direction thing.
Like, I would say within the first like year for me, like my first year, which was January to December, as in like it wasn't like anyway.
You know how years work.
You know how years work. I was saying because your year was from August to August.
Yeah.
Mine was from whatever. So I think it was just interesting to see that, like, by the end of that year, I would say we were like besties, and I would say you were probably like my first real best friend that I was like, you know, because you have a lot of best friends in high school.
Thank you.
But like, thank you. It was all because of you, and not because you're the only person they knew.
It's fine. I'll accept it.
Yeah, no, but I think it was like that at the beginning, because it was like we felt the most safest with each other, and then by the end of it was like, yeah, of course we'd be best friends.
Yeah.
Like, we lived together.
And when I moved back, when I got married and moved back to Hamilton,
I cried.
I don't remember this.
Also set up her engagement.
In another
Basically
episode, we can talk about how TJ organized my engagement, and he was also
and we'll have our manager on.
co-art director of my wedding.
Yes.
You were mainly the musical director because I was the art director, but
yeah, and then
then I needed you to help me with it.
Yeah, you art directed and I assisted.
You outworked it. So that's how that's how we got here, and that's how like a lot of our interests and skills and whatever overlap.
And like post working there, because I don't work at the same place anymore. Like, it's been, because I moved back to Hamilton, which has been like crazy in terms of like, I feel like I've regressed in time, because I went from having a full-time job that was like super fulfilling and like to like living with my parents
to being a freelancer. It's a
different life.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a glorious life.
Yes, it is. And so I think like that change, like Jay really helped me out. I'm gonna cry.
Oh my god!
If I actually talk about it, I probably could cry.
Really?
Do you want to cry? No, I don't. No, like I think like I was not in the best place first working at the job. Not really because of the job, just because of my brain. And then Jay was like, well, I showed Jay this thing called D&D, not knowing it was D&D at the time.
No, actually, can I say that quick moment from my perspective as we transition to the D&D thing? He just goes, hey, do you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons? Like, I just feel like you might know something, because I think you were kind of saying like...
Oh, because I was watching...
You were watching stuff.
And I was being like, is this Dungeons and Dragons? Because I didn't know how to search it.
Yeah, it's like, is this something that you know about? Like, I don't know. I feel like you're the only person that...
It's like, please watch this video. YouTube
and tell me what you think about it. And actually, this is something that happens...
And Jay's like a board game freak. Like, pre-Jay, the only board game I think I'd ever played was Monopoly, and I hated it.
Don't say that. We don't like Monopoly.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't like Monopoly. I'm not advocating for Monopoly.
Sorry.
If you like Monopoly, you might as well
don't
be
sit with
a
us.
gritty person.
No, just kidding.
No, just kidding. No. But yeah, I'm saying like before that, like I didn't really know board games and card games. I didn't know I liked apps, like app games.
Mobile games. I forgot. That was one thing that we also...
Yeah, like we'd invest in.
There's a hole in my shirt. Apologies.
Important. But like that was like... So that's why I'm going to Jay, because even at that point, I don't think I was... I mean, I played like Zombie Side with you in Wellington and like stuff like that. So like my interest had been piqued. But then in my depressive state, all I would watch was...
these videos.
Dimension 20.
Yeah.
And then I was like, watched like hours and hours and hours of it. And then I was like, is this is this D&D?
Is this what I think? Yeah.
And like my reference was like Stranger Things.
I probably need to find. You would have either sent me a TikTok or messaged me about it.
I remember I telegrammed you.
Oh yeah.
A video being like, "Do you know anything about D&D? Because I feel like this sounds like it, but I don't know."
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I know someone who has invited me to play D&D like since last year. Like
he was like, "I want to play."
Yeah, and I kept saying yes, but then it just some stuff came up all the time.
And also, you didn't have like it would have been just you and the producer and Mitch
and the producer. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, but Rob, our dungeon master. Spoiler alert: we finally got. Anyway, so. You were telling me, and then he had already been talking to me about it,
from last
and
group.
we were already gonna try and pull something together and try and do a campaign.
And Jay was like, "Would you want to come?" And I was like before this, I've not left my house. I only took to my parents,
and it was like something
like hiding.
Like when you said it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, of course!" Like link you up with Rob and Zoe, and do D&D. And then we did a session, and then you started telling me about how you got into it in the first place, and then now we're fangirling over it together.
Yeah, like I think I was like not in a good place, so YouTube was my live, and I was just like watching that on repeat, and somehow found this thing. I can't remember how I found it either, and it would like pop up, and I was like, "What the heck is a fantasy high?" And then I started watching that season, and then because of that. Was like brought it up with you because I knew you like game stuff, and we also like send lots of like creative cool stuff to each other, and it's super creative. And then you were like, I think 4 or 5 weeks later, like it would have been a solid month at least, was like, would you want to play? And I was like, at the time I was like maybe starting to come out of like that slump I was in, but I was scared. Like I was so scared. Like I was like, I love you, but like I was like, I don't know if I could commit to something like that. And then you were like, well, I have a friend, Rob. And I was like, well, I knew who Rob was, but Rob, like he wants to do a thing. And then I was like, should I? Like, I was like, I don't know. And then you were like, he just wants to do like a one shot, just like one session.
And that was great.
And then I was like, okay, I'll do a one session and we'll see what happens. And that was like the first time I went out of my house. I like came over to someone's house without like my family.
Yeah.
I like was prepared. I like bought stuff for it. I like came prepared.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like,
you bought new outfits?
No, not clothes. I mean, I think I brought some stuff for my like laptop. I think. For my iPad.
Yeah.
I brought that like app and stuff, and like I was prepared before I came.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was like actively was like cracking me out of the shell that, I guess I put myself in. Ooh.
Oh my God! No, you burped and I burped, and I was gonna pick up the talking, but I'm like, mid-burp. What the heck? Sorry, guys.
Sorry, audio listeners. So like broke me out of my shell. Ended up like having to come every week because we decided to play a year-long game, which has now been over a year.
And you know what's wild is I love it because it also that one text like ended up fostering our friendship and also my friendship.
It wasn't dying, but I think at the same time, like it wasn't healthy. Like I didn't see you at all for like a year.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was talking about you, but I was also talking about Rob and Zoe. Like it fostered our friendship with Rob and Zoe, like our friendship, and then our friendship with them, and then like because at the time like we would meet in these like small groups, life groups for everyone in the know. And Rob would come to the life group that Mitchell and I were going to, but Zoe wasn't. So I was closer friends with Zoe. They are engaged. They weren't engaged at the time that they were dating. Sorry, just extra lore. But he was there, and I knew. So, like I said,
sorry if you don't care.
He was already inviting us to D&D something, and then I'm pretty sure, like within a few days of you saying, "Hey, do you know someone?" I'm like, "Of course I know someone. We need to link up." And I think it might have been. I think
you might have even before you said anything about Rob. I reckon you said something like, "Would you want to play in real life?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah."
But I think it was like a couple. Rob. Yeah, a couple of days after that, I think, I really hope you're listening to this in double time, but a couple of days after that, I was hanging out with Rob, and I was just like, can you please tell me about it? Like, what happens? And he's like, you pick a character, and then
you hadn't been watching what I'd been watching.
No. And then what was what? I don't know if I had told you this, but when you sent me that, it was like, the reason it was a click was because I had seen like maybe a handful of D&D content on TikTok, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so hype.
Thank you, TikTok.
Yeah, but I had no context to get in on it, but I could see it. I'm like, man, they're having so much fun. Like, I wish I could figure out.
Like, it's so funny the intersections that why we love D&D as well. Like, lots of lore, lots of world building, things that we love, like character creation and knowing how to do that. Gameplay, roleplay and gameplay as two separate things. Like we like at the time, way earlier than this, I wanted to make a card game, and so like me and you had been like researching, like, what do we want to do? What do you want to do? How does your game work? Like, what games do we need to play to understand if that like that's how it works? So how do we implement that into what you're doing? Never eventuated, but drawed me to D&D. And I think too, like, there was just so many intersections, creativity being a big part of it, both in the role play and your own imagination, but also in the physicality of drawing and understanding and visual like aids that come with D&D, both that we watch in terms of programs and also in terms of the games that we play. Yeah. And like we've both DM'd now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, we both need to do some more.
So,
but yeah.
Actually,
and it's been
D&D changed our lives.
Fully.
Because, so you came out of your shell and
became more sane.
They kind of like reintroduced you to society. And then like we became better friends with Rob and Zoe, and literally this weekend Rob is moving in with us, and when him and Zoe get married, Zoe's going to move in here as well. And we've been playing for over a year, and we're just halfway through. We're not going to tell you what the campaign is, but
Proceed.
Actually, let's just quickly say about our characters. So my character's name is Evelina, and
Except for it was Jed, and I still can't get over that. But that's a story for another day.
Story for another day. I had a sorry.
Anyway, story for another day. Move on.
Story for another day. Half elf druid, level 8.
Percy. Full elf. I was gonna say high elf.
Multi-class.
Wizard. Illusionist, multi-class first level sorcerer for wild. I was gonna say wild shape, but that's wrong. Yeah, whatever the wild one is. But that's becoming maybe not a part of my story.
Ooh.
So we'll see. Please, Rob. Please.
Please, Rob. Let us do it.
But anyway, that's kind of, I guess, the end of.
You're up to date now.
You're up to date
with
now.
the friendship and kind of some of the stuff that we're into.
Yeah.
This feels like an episode 0 stuff, but I'm glad that we went through it. So it's like all the kind of nerdy, creative filmmaking.
Hopefully gives you enough insight to be like why the name is what it is.
Yeah.
Because like.
And why we're going to talk about some of the stuff we end up talking about.
Because I think we'll probably talk about creative stuff like lyric videos, and maybe that's not your vibe, but we'll also talk about D&D, and we'll also talk about like things to do with the creative sphere a lot, like animations, lots of things. Should we move on to the next thing, or do you want to do a wrap up?
Or dun dun dun.
End of the episode. Bye. Okay, guys, welcome to the end of the video. If you'd like to watch some more, because there's a little bit more, jump on over to our Spotify. We talk about some things that we're nerding out about at the moment, so listen to the audio version over there. And our next episode, episode 2, will be out on the 2nd Saturday of next month, which will be the 8th. So make sure you come back. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bye.